Okay, so question 12, we've got Stockholm, which is located 59 degrees north and 18 degrees east, and Darwin, which is located 13 degrees south, 131 degrees east. We are asked to find the time difference between Stockholm and Darwin. Now it's a little bit at the end, just saying ignore time zones and daylight savings. Basically, just don't overthink it. If you know how to find time difference, you're good. Don't overcomplicate it. Okay. So, couple things you need to remember here. There's a lot of memory involved. If you are completely blank when you get in, that's fine. Just circle one, move on with your life. Okay. But if you have got a pretty good memory or you've put some time in, you can do these questions, then awesome. So I'll help you out if you can't remember with a couple of little tools. So whenever you're talking about time difference and we're talking about coordinates on Earth, I always like to think about just the silly little thing of long times. Okay, you wait long times. All that means is to find time, I'm using longitude. Okay, there's two different ways we talk about coordinates. Two different ways to talk about coordinates. We have longitude and latitude. So if you imagine a little picture of the Earth, we have our longitude, which is our long lines coming up and down. Okay, so going north and south, and they wrap all the way around the Earth. The other way, we have our latitude, which I remember as fatitude, because I am very immature, and they're the ones that wrap around, so a bit wider. Okay, so around the fattest point of the Earth. So if we're talking longitude, we're clearly talking north and south. We're talking up and down. So the difference in longitude, I'm going to look at those north and south points. So for Stockholm, 59 degrees north. I do not care how far east it is. Same thing for Darwin. I'm 13 degrees south. That's going to be important. Couldn't care less about the latitude. So my difference, okay, if you imagine these 2 points on Earth, you're probably wondering what it's north or south of. Okay, and that's going to be our equator that splits the Earth in two. So we have the northern and southern hemispheres. All right, so that's just kind of like a line wrapping around the middle, so we can talk about north and south. It saves us having to get like pedantic about big numbers. So if we've got Stockholm, which is 59 degrees north, and we've got Darwin, which is 13 degrees south, we just want to find that distance between them. Okay, so just from looking at the picture, you might be able to figure it out that there's something more going on here. What we actually have to do to find that distance is go from 59 to 0 and then go from 0 to 13. You could go the other way, you could go from both of them to 0, but basically you need to realize we're adding both of those distances. If they were both north, so both here, then yep, we could just do the big one, take away the small one. Same thing if they were both south, we could just do the big one, take away the small one. But if they are on either side, so a north and a south, that's when we have to get a little bit fancy. Okay, so to find our difference, we are just, and I've erased everything, we are just going to add together 59 and then 13. Okay, that's going from here to 0 and then 13. That's going to get me 72 degrees. That's their difference. Now time, again, this is a memory one, so if you remember it, great. If you do some practice and it sticks with you, that's awesome. If you don't, it's one question, have a stab at one of the options and move on. Okay. To find time, we grab our latitude, so our difference, and we divide it by 15. Okay. Because the way we talk about it and the way the world works, every 15 degrees, that's going to be 1 hour. So if you do 72 divided by 15, you're going to get 4.8, and that's going to be hours. Okay. Problem is, after all that work, when we look at our multiple choice answers, none of them are even close to 4.8. So something's clearly gone wrong. What you need to realize is that my answer is in hours, but all of these options are in minutes. So one last step, I need to go from hours to minutes. So if you just times by 60, you'll get 288, and much better. That actually matches up. Okay, so question 13 is a percentages one, has some GST. It says a camera costs $449, including 10% GST. And I'm going to actually highlight that whole thing because that's going to be really important. What we want to know is what is the price of the camera without GST, correct to the nearest dollar. Okay, so we're going to start with our $449. Now, if I wanted to find the price of something with GST, basically I'm adding 10% on. So let's say there was a pair of shoes that was $80, okay, and I want to figure out what that is with GST so I can sell it in my store, because you have to do that in Australia. I would need to times it by 110%. That 110 is adding on 10%, okay, and that would get me my $88, and that would be my price with GST. That's what I sell it for, get the government some money, because Australia works that way. Okay, so normally I'd be timesing, in fact I'll just leave that there, normally I'd times to get my price with GST. Now if I've already done that to get my 449, because that's already including GST, I just want to undo that. So instead of timesing by 110%, I want to divide by 110%. You can actually type that in like that into your calculator and it should check out for you. Okay, and it should give you 408.18, blah, 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 blah. Again, closest option clearly matches up with C, which is 408. If you didn't have multiple choice, you need to go to the nearest dollar. That's saying this number here. So no cents, nearest dollar, that's closer to being $408.